Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back. I am really excited for this episode, especially because it's the first one that will also be available on YouTube. So, if you like to listen to podcasts or watch podcasts on YouTube, you can now do that with mine. And you'll find the link in the show notes for that. But yeah, let's get into today's episode. So, today is about how you become a vessel for your soul mission. So, what does it take to let your soul work through you? And this is really about how you can allow your soul to really flow through your work, your life, everything that you do. And also, why would you even want that? Like, why might that be something that you would want? And I think the first thing to understand or to ask yourself is, what if your soul mission or your soul purpose is not actually something that you have to chase or that you have to find? Because I think that is something that a lot of people feel or a lot of people do, that they kind of have to go and find this thing, this mission or this purpose, and then everything will flow from there. But what I've noticed over the last couple of years, making this experience myself and really aligning with my soul mission and my soul purpose myself, but also guiding a lot of people, a lot of my clients through this journey, what I've noticed is that your soul mission, your soul purpose is really something that you have to become available for and you have to open up to. It's not really something that's kind of outside of you and that you kind of have to go and find. It's really something that when you open up to it, when you allow yourself to let this become a part of you, that's how it actually happens. And so I think instead of asking, what is my soul purpose or how do I find my soul purpose, what we should actually be asking is, am I creating the conditions for my soul to express itself through me? And in this episode, I will talk about how to actually do that and what these conditions are. Because I think many people want to know their soul mission and many people want to align with it. And I mean, the people I work with, a lot of them already have like an idea of what it might be or what it might feel like. But especially at this point, I think a really good question to ask yourself is, how do I become the vessel that can hold my soul mission? And this is what this episode is about. So it's not about how to find your purpose, but rather about how to become the person that can hold your soul mission and that can hold that energy that wants to flow through you and that is already a part of you. And so I just want to quickly go into what it actually means to become a vessel for your soul purpose or to become a container for your soul purpose. Because the thing is, when you look up the word vessel, which I actually did because I wanted to understand, like, what does this word actually mean? You get something like a hollow container for liquids. And I think it's important to realize that it's not about becoming hollow. It's not about becoming empty and like completely emptying yourself so that there's nothing there anymore. It's more about becoming open and clear and really expanding your energetic capacity, basically. And it is about creating space, energetic space inside of you so that your soul's wisdom and your purpose and your gifts and all of that can actually flow through you and express themselves through you. And So it is about emptying yourself in the sense that you want to empty yourself of the things that are not serving you and the limiting beliefs and the patterns and the fears and maybe the past life trauma, ancestral trauma, whatever it might be, so that something else can flow through you, so that there is actually space for your soul to work through you or to speak through you. And the thing is, I mean, I think what's important to understand is what your soul mission actually requires from you. Because many people think that soul purpose or soul mission is simply about discovering or finding the right career or the right job. And I often feel that this is how it's portrayed a lot, that sole purpose is your job or your career, which says a lot about how we grow up and what as a society we think is important, or what we identify ourselves with. But our soul mission is much, much bigger than that. It's much more than just your job or the thing that you do to earn money, or your career and the thing that you do to, on a day-to-day basis. And so I mean, how do I put this? Basically, our soul mission really asks us to put aside what we think our life should look like. Because a lot of people have a very specific idea of, this is what it should look like, this is what I want, this is what I need, and all of that. But we actually, in order to hold our soul mission, we actually need to become a new version of ourselves that can really hold this thing. And it's not something that you can just find or acquire with just your human mind. And I think what's also important to understand is that your soul isn't really interested in what exactly it is that you're doing, which is also why when it comes to soul mission or soul purpose, it can always be expressed in many different ways, which I also noticed a couple of years ago, back when I was still doing Akashic Record readings for people, and people would ask me, okay, so what is my soul purpose? And something would come, and then they were like, okay, but how do I express that in the world, or what should I do for work, or how do I do that, how do I bring that into the world? And the thing is, there are always so many different options that you could choose. So it's not like this is your soul purpose, this is how you bring it into the world, and this is exactly what it looks like and what you need to do. That is something that you have to decide. Because there are so many different ways that you could bring your gifts and your mission into the world. It's not like there's just one path. There's never just one option or one path. And your soul doesn't really care how exactly that energy is expressed. It just cares about the fact that it is expressed, whatever that might look like for you. And your soul is really interested in who you become while you let that mission work through you. And the thing is, that will always change. For example, for me, I don't know, like 4 years ago, maybe, someone would have said, okay, yes, like her soul purpose is channeling and doing Akashic Record readings for people. Which now obviously has changed a lot, because I'm not doing Akashic Record readings anymore. But I am still channeling, and I am still working with people, and I am still working with my spirit guides. So it's not like, oh, my soul mission has changed. It's just that the expression of my soul mission has changed, the physical expression of it. And from there, I think what is really important to understand is what is actually holding you back from letting your soul work through you. Because even if you know, or even if you have a feeling for what your soul mission is or what your soul purpose is, you might feel that there is something that is kind of blocking you from fully going there or from fully expressing that. And so I just want to touch on a few of the things that might be holding you back from really letting your soul work through you and from really being that vessel that can allow that to happen. And so the first thing is conditioning and what you've learned in childhood in the present lifetime. The assumptions, the beliefs, the everything that you have picked up about yourself and about your life, the world itself, other people, your relationships, but also your ancestral patterns, your past life wounds, your past life experiences, and all that, because all of that impacts how you move through the world and what you believe about yourself and what you believe is possible. Because there might be things like the fear of rejection or people pleasing or the fear of judgment or your self-confidence, what you think you are capable of, what you think other people think about you. And all of these little voices and beliefs and conditionings from this lifetime, past lifetimes, your ancestors, etc., can make it really hard to hear the voice of your soul and to really feel that essence that is constantly trying to speak through you and to move through you. The second thing is holding on to identities that you're meant to outgrow. Because sometimes what I see is that the biggest obstacle isn't actually fear or isn't a belief or anything, but it's being attached to who you think you are or who you think you should be. And therefore holding on to certain identities, to certain versions of yourself, to certain ideas of what your life should look like or what your relationships should look like, what your surroundings should look like. And when you hold on to that too tightly because you're afraid of change, this is something that can block your soul from coming through more, because your soul's expression might not actually fit the identity that you're clinging to. So you have to be willing to let go of certain versions of yourself and of certain ideas that you might have had about what your life should look like or who you are or who you are becoming, in order to make space for your soul to come through. Another thing that's really, really important is your energy system. And one of the things that does hold a lot of people back is never upgrading or updating your energetic system. Because if you never intentionally do that, it's kind of like you're running around with an outdated software or an old software in your system. And at certain points on your journey, you need to update your energy system in the sense of really reconnecting with the original blueprint of your soul and really clearing the layers that are keeping you from fully connecting with this blueprint and with this essential energy that is your soul. And also bringing or reconnecting with the original blueprints of your entire energy system, your chakras, and the versions of those chakras, for example, that existed before you were conditioned, because there is a very pure soul blueprint that you have, and they are very pure, and not pure in the sense of better, but pure in the sense of they haven't been impacted by what you've learned in this lifetime, what you've experienced in your last lifetime, what your ancestors believe, blah, 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 all of these things. So pure in the sense of untouched, I guess, untouched by everything that you've learned about yourself and everything that you've learned to believe about yourself. Because those blueprints or those very pure energies, they can give you a lot of information about how to move forward and who you're here to be, and they can help you access your soul gifts and all of that. So at some point on your journey, you need to do the energetic work to really align with those versions of your chakras, of your soul's blueprint, of your energetic blueprint. And that includes clearing beliefs, old energies, stagnant energies, old wounds, fears, patterns, all of these things. Because even if you work on yourself in all kinds of different ways, like maybe you're doing a lot of somatic work, maybe you're doing a lot of emotional release work, maybe you've been doing therapy, or I mean, there's so many different things at this point that we all have access to, and maybe you are doing all of these things, which is great because they are also very important. But you also need to, at certain points, really go to the energy, like to your energy system, because that interacts with everything else that you're working on. And if you don't clear your energy in that way, you will just keep being pulled back into old patterns and old habits. And so that is a very important thing. Another thing that can keep you from really opening up to your soul mission and to your soul purpose is trying to control the outcome, trying to control what it's going to look like, how it's going to look, how it's going to manifest in your life. And this is a big one, because if there's a part of you that really needs to know what it's going to look like and how it's going to feel and how it's going to be, you're not going to allow what wants to unfold, because there's always this part of you that kind of holds it back because it's scared of the unknown and scared of, okay, but what if I have never done this before? What if I've never felt this way before? And then you can't surrender to what actually wants to happen. And if you can't surrender, you are like, there's a part of you that's constantly wanting to be in control, which obviously is normal because it keeps you safe in different ways. But if you really want to let your soul work through you, you need to really become okay with uncertainty and with not knowing what it's going to look like. And I think sometimes this is the biggest piece for a lot of people, because depending on how much safety and security you need to feel okay, there can be quite a lot of holding on and needing to know what happens and what it's going to look like, and not being able to just let things unfold. And I mean, that was also an experience that I needed to go through, because in the very beginning, I had absolutely no idea what was going to happen or how all of this is going to unfold. The only thing I knew was that there is something there for me in channeling, in Akashic work, in energy work, but I had absolutely no idea like how is that going to fit into my life? How am I going to do this? What am I going to do? And at some point I just really tried to surrender and just try to take the next small step. Um, Without constantly thinking about, okay, but if I do this, then what's going to happen? And can I make this plan or that plan? I literally just didn't make any plan. I just started following whatever nudges I was getting from my soul. And another thing that can really hold you back from becoming that vessel for your soul to flow through is trying to always stick to rules or certifications or trainings that you have done, especially if part of your soul mission might include working with other people or supporting others, working as, I don't know, maybe a healer or a psychic or a channel or some kind of facilitator. And I think it's great to have certain trainings or certain certifications or to have done certain courses. But from what I've been seeing, they can also become the limitation for your soul's expression if you give them complete power and if you give them so much power that you don't allow yourself to move outside of what you've learned and what you've been told and what you think the rules are for this kind of work. Because the thing is, your soul mission and your soul purpose, they require you to let your soul's essence, like that energy that is you, infuse into the things that you do and infuse into the ways that you move through the world. And sometimes that means doing things differently and or giving it your own unique flavor instead of following step A, B, C, D, E. Because there might be a way that your soul wants to express that is just not within the scope of what you have learned. And I mean, this was a big one for me as well, especially when it came to healing work in the beginning. Because the ways that I do healing work, I have not learned that anywhere. Like nobody taught me how to do past life healing, how to do ancestral healing, how to work with energy. There was no training that could tell me this is how you do it. And there was nothing where I could fit the information that I was getting and the processes that I was shown by my soul, by my guides. There was nothing I could fit that into because there was no one that did it the same way. And so if I would have let that limit me, like imagine, I mean, if you've been following me for a while or if you've worked with me before, imagine where I would be now, because I could literally offer or not offer 99% of my healing work, because there wasn't any training that kind of did it that specific way that I'm doing it. And so if I then would have said, okay, but if nobody teaches it this way, then it must mean that it's not correct or it's not right. And I don't know, I might still be offering Akashic record readings, or I would still offer Akashic record readings then if I wouldn't have at some point started to trust my own unique gifts. And yeah, so I think it's really, really important to, yes, do the foundational things and do the things that you need to do to feel like you have a good idea of what it takes to hold people in this kind of work, but also let your soul work through you in the sense of not holding yourself back when there's something that really flows through you that you haven't seen before, or that you haven't worked with before, or that nobody has taught you, because that might be the very thing that your soul is here to bring into the world. Yeah, so I mean, how do you become a clearer vessel? How do you become a vessel for your soul's mission and for your soul's work? I think the first thing is building a relationship with your soul's essence, really understanding who are you on a soul level. Like, what does your essence feel like? What is that actually? How does that feel for you? How does it manifest for you? And connect with it, feel it, embody it, learn to embody it. Because the more you connect with that energy, the more you can let that flow through you when it really comes and when it starts to talk to you. And this is something that I also do in my work, like really connect people with that essential part of themselves, because that's the energy that wants to work through you. So you need to get to know it, and you need to understand what it actually is and how it feels and how it works through you. The second thing is healing and clearing the things that keep you disconnected from your true essence, or that keep your true essence hidden or locked or blocked or whatever you might call it. Anything that is kind of like layered on top of it, and that doesn't allow you to fully feel it and to fully let it flow through you and to become, or not to become because it is already you, but to take up all of the space in you. So present life, past life, ancestral trauma, wounds, fears, limiting beliefs, all of these things, that needs to be cleared so that you can really connect with that essence. Another thing is expanding your energetic capacity to hold and receive. Because what your soul requires of you is to become this container or this vessel for this energy to kind of flow through you constantly. And if your energy system is clogged by all of the things that we already talked about, like past life wounds, ancestral wounds, yeah, etc., etc., there isn't much space for that energy to flow through you and for it to come in. And also another reason for why you really need to start expanding your energetic capacity is because you need to be able to hold higher energies if you want more of your soul to come through, because your soul itself has a really high frequency and is kind of vibrating at a level where it requires you to really expand how much you can hold in your system, in your energy system, so that you can actually hold it, so that it can actually become a part of you. Because again, if there's lots of other stuff in you that has a different vibration and that takes up a lot of space, you can't bring as much of your soul into you to speak through you and to move through you. And yeah, this is also something that I do in my work, like really helping people clear out whatever's in the way so that their soul can take up the space and their higher self can really take up the space and land in their body. Another thing that's really, really important is reconnecting with your soul's wisdom. And by that, I mean past life wisdom, past life gifts, everything that your soul has already learned or experienced in previous incarnations, in lifetimes before this one, because there's so much that your soul has already learned and that your soul has already integrated, so much wisdom, so many gifts, so many abilities. And if we only focus on the present lifetime and what we've learned in this specific lifetime now, there's a lot of potential that we miss out on, because however many lifetimes your soul has had before this one, if you imagine that you've picked up just a little bit of wisdom in every single one of these lifetimes, there's so much that you could have access to if you intentionally reconnect with that. And if you intentionally kind of move towards that and let it work through you. Also, those of you souls who are not from this earth, you have a galactic lineage, you have a cosmic lineage, and you have probably had a lot of incarnations on planets and star systems that are not the earth. Which again can give you access to so many incredible ways of working with energy if you allow yourself to connect with that, and if you allow that to become a part of you. And there are different energetic processes that you can do to reconnect with past life gifts, to reconnect with your galactic lineage and all of these things. And those are the things that will allow more of your soul to come in, because they are the kind of the threads that lead you to the ancient parts of your soul, which is such an incredible journey. At least it was for me, because this is what helped me access all of the things that I'm working with now. And this is what helped me access the ways that I'm working with energy now, pretty much everything that I do now with clients, I have picked up from previous lifetimes. It's not something that I learned in this lifetime. I've never done energy work in this life before I started doing it with the wisdom and the knowledge that I am pulling from previous lifetimes before this one. And yeah, so I deeply believe that there is a lot there for every single soul, because chances are that you have had lifetimes before this one. So there is probably something that's waiting for you to discover it. Another thing which I touched on before is surrender. And practicing surrender, practicing letting go of control. And you might even want to surround yourself with people who you feel are good at surrendering and letting go, to receive some of their codes and some of the ways that they are doing this. Because surrender is what you will need, especially if you want to, for example, let those past life gifts or let those galactic wisdom, soul wisdom flow through you, because you need to be able to lean back and just let it come in. And if the part of you that wants to control is really, really strong and really loud, that makes it much harder. So learning to surrender will make it much easier. And sometimes surrendering means letting it be scary and sitting with the fear and just allowing the fear and the discomfort to be there, and for that to be okay, and not wanting to change it, not wanting or needing it to be different, because you will face so many, probably, not saying everyone will, but likely you will face a lot of situations on this journey where you're like, okay, I'm not sure how to do this. I'm not sure if I can do this. I'm not sure. Can I trust this? What am I doing here? What is this, all of this even about? And there might be fear, and there might be discomfort, and there might be parts of you that just don't want to grow and that just want to go back to like a very normal, conventional life where you didn't have all of these questions and discomforts. But yeah, if you can let that be there and just hold yourself through that, that is already a really big step. And another thing is incorporating all the levels of your being. Because in order to become a clear vessel, a clear container for your soul purpose or your soul mission to flow through you, you also need, at least this is my experience, there are people who would say differently, but I deeply believe that you need a clear physical body in the sense that you are not carrying around a lot of trash in your system. And yes, to some extent, this means eating clean. And it's on you to decide to what degree you want to do this. And I also know that there are people who say that this doesn't have any impact and just eat whatever you want, just drink whatever you want. Yeah. Like for me, this approach doesn't make sense because I really believe that all of the different layers that make up who we are connected, and your physical body is not separate from your energy body or from your emotional body. So if you constantly eat shit food, I just do not believe that it doesn't have an impact on your energy system or on your channel even. But that's on you to decide. But this was for sure my experience, because my psychic abilities, my channeling abilities only opened up when I started clearing my physical body through detoxing, through releasing a lot of things, through really finding a way to eat that works for me. And I have to say that I was very, very, very sick at that point, which I know is not where everyone else is coming from. So for my case was that I had been chronically sick for many, many years, and I had been taking tons of medication. I had not been eating well for most of my life because I just didn't know how. So there was a lot of trash in my body for sure. And I know that other people grow up in different ways. And if you have never been sick a lot, or you haven't had anything labeled as like autoimmune disease, all of these things, you are coming from a different place. But for me, when I started physically healing myself, it had such a huge impact on everything. And this was the beginning of my journey. This was the moment I started getting access to my psychic abilities, getting access to all of these things, being able to go into deeper meditation, opening my channel, and all of that. So I think it's important. And I've seen a lot of my clients who took that advice and did certain types of detoxing while they were working with me, experience the benefits of that too. Another thing is clear surroundings, because honestly, if you have a lot of clutter around you, a lot of stuff, a lot of things that just accumulate, that can also hold you back from, really feeling the essence of your soul, because everything that accumulates, everything around you carries an energy. And if everything around you is super chaotic and super cluttered and all of that, it will impact you. Like, it will have an impact on you. And I don't mean to say like you have to be super tidy and everything has to like be very clean and all of that all the time. But if there are a lot of things, for example, that, I don't know, you've just been kind of accumulating things from the past that you don't actually need anymore, but you haven't thrown them away, or just a lot of stuff that you don't actually need, it can be a really good idea to start throwing that out, because it will clear up more space around you, and it will make it much, much easier to connect to clarity when your outer surroundings are clear, in the sense that there's not tons of things just impacting you. A clear mind, meaning working on your mindset, your thoughts, the way you think about yourself, about the world, about everything, is also important, because that will also interact with your energy and with how much of your soul you can actually let through. Emotional body, releasing emotions, knowing how to feel your emotions. And I see that sometimes that people have done all of the other things and they're already quite deep into their spiritual journey or their soul's journey, but the one thing that they have never done is actually feeling their emotions and really allowing themselves to feel all of the things that they have stored in their body, in their system. Because if your system is clogged by a lot of emotions that you've never allowed yourself to feel in the last years, decades, whatever it might be, they are also taking up a lot of space. So that's also something important to look at. So I think what I want to say with this is, if you truly want to become a vessel for your soul, don't focus only on the energetic side of that, which most of this episode is about, clearly. But, and that's why I'm saying this, because it's not the only thing that you should be focusing on. You also need to think about, okay, have I done any emotional work? How is my the physical state of my being? How is my mind? How is my mind? Like, because it all interacts. It's not separate from the other. So yeah, just feeling into, okay, what is the area of me that I might have never looked at, and then look at that, because that will shift things as well. Also, another thing that you can allow more of your soul to flow through you is letting it infuse into every part of your life, not just your work, not just the moments in which you, for example, work with clients, or in which you work with people, but really every area of your life. Like, how would your soul express itself in your relationships, in your hobbies, and the things that you do outside of whatever it is that you do to earn money? Like, how does your soul want to express itself in the world? And this can be so many different things and so many different ways, but really invite that energy to express through you always, not just when you're kind of serving with your soul gifts. That's really important as well. And I think what's also important is realizing that this whole thing, like your soul purpose, your soul mission, is bigger than you. It's bigger than the human that is you. Because this is really about sharing your soul codes, sharing your soul gifts with the world, and understanding that this is bigger than just the human that kind of carries, like, that is the vessel for your soul to express itself through, can be really important, because it sometimes helps to get over certain things, or to not make it about you constantly, in the sense of, okay, but what will people think about me? What will that do? How will I be seen? In, like, whatever. But really understanding, okay, there is something greater here, because it's your soul trying to express through you the human. And that sometimes helps as well. And lastly, I think it's very important to understand that it's not supposed to be easy, and it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be comfortable all the time. Because one thing I also feel some people think is that once you have found your soul purpose, everything will be easy, because you'll be aligned and everything will just flow. And at least in my experience, it's just not the case. Because if you really want to do this, it will require absolutely everything from you. And sometimes it really might bring you to your knees and might make you want to question this whole thing and this whole experience, because you're like, what is this? Why do I have to, like, move through this now, or face this thing, or move through that thing, or whatever it might be? There's so much that starts coming up once you start to commit to this journey, and it's not easy. And yes, there's so much beauty and so much magic in this path, but sometimes it's also really, really, really hard. Because it requires you to be able to constantly let go of old versions of you, because the pace at which you will grow and evolve just gets much, much, much quicker the deeper you go into this journey. So you have to be willing to let go of certain things. You have to be willing to become really honest about your relationships and how they impact you, and how the people around you impact you, and the ways in which you might have allowed people to cross your boundaries, for example, or the ways in which you're still people pleasing, the ways in which you're still trying to portray a certain image of you that is just not very helpful. So yeah, it will not allow you to get rid of the discomfort. But if you do, if you do commit to this, if you do commit to really becoming a vessel for your soul, for your soul's expression, for your gifts, for your purpose, I can promise you that it will create a life that is so much greater than you could have ever dreamed of. Honestly, it's such a gift, because I mean, the thing is, if you let your soul fully express in the way that it is meant to, everything that you've been dreaming about will be part of that, because that is then part of your essence. And the things that you've been trying to manifest, and the relationships that you've been trying to manifest, and the abundance that you've been trying to manifest, it's a package, basically. Like, your soul is an energy, is an essence, and everything that you feel drawn towards, everything that you love, the way that you would love to live your life, that will be connected to it, because it's not like aligning with your soul purpose will keep you away from what you dreamed for your life to be. It's rather like it will either give you exactly that or something much, much better, something that you could not even have imagined for yourself. But it requires you to do the things to get there, which is the hard part, and which is the part that a lot of people just don't want to do because it's not easy. Yes, and with that, I am really excited to announce that I am hosting a free 2-day journey called Portal of Remembrance next week on Monday, Tuesday, July 27 and July 28. And this is actually really aligned with this episode, because Portal of Remembrance is about starting to remember your gifts, the ancient wisdom of your soul, your soul's essence, the highest aligned version of your soul. So we will do a lot of energy work around releasing fear, around releasing energetic density, around releasing all of the things that have been keeping parts of your soul expression hidden. We will also work with your ancestral lineage to clear some of the things that might be holding you back from fully connecting with the essence of your soul. And we will also reconnect you with the gifts that your lineage holds. We will also heal past lifetimes that are limiting the full expression of your soul gifts. And we will start expanding your capacity, your energetic capacity, which I talked about earlier, so that you can hold more light, more of your soul's wisdom, more of who you truly are on a soul level, and essentially connect you with the most liberated version of your soul, so that you can get a feeling for how that actually feels like. So the link to join, it's completely free, will be in the podcast notes. You can also find it on my website, on my Instagram, everywhere you can find me. And yeah, it's 2 60-minute sessions. All you need to do is show up and receive. And yeah, I would love to see you there. If you have any questions about this, let me know. If you have any questions about this episode, please do let me know. And yeah, I hope you have a beautiful day or night wherever you are. And I'm sending you so much love. Thank you for listening.